shot calling, hitting like it's raw.
This is part 3 to what if Andrew Garfield Spider-Man was in the MCU. Now, part 3 is mainly focusing on how it would change in-game and how it would change, basically, it would not change WandaVision at all, but I'll just be saying, I'm just going to be explaining how it would change in-game, and then it's probably going to be the end of this what if. If you guys want me to do a what if, like, on a different MCU character, I would do that one. Now, I am putting up a text on my, my community server, pretty much doing a debate, who should I do, a what if the Ninja Turtles are in the MCU, or what if Ben 10 was in the MCU. So guys, you guys can decide in the comments if you guys want to see that. So yeah, so basically we get into the what if about, we get into the what if after Spider-Man, is around, basically, is wandering in space. After Infinity War, Spider-Man and Nebula and Tony are wandering in space on the ship. Captain Marvel finds them, and basically, they get landed to Earth. So guys, I played some music in the background, so let's get into the video. So basically, Peter is going to be, taken back to space, and we skip a couple years after, Infinity War all simmered down. Now, pretty much everybody's, dealing with the snap. Now, with the snap, Peter actually, Aunt May got snapped away in this universe. So Peter basically has no one left. Since Uncle Ben's dead, his girlfriend's dead, his best friend's dead, and also his parents are dead. So Peter doesn't know what to do. So Peter goes back to that pretty much place where he found out his father's DNA was encoded with the spiders that, bit him. The whole entire, secret, subway train place, that science lab, and pretty much starts experimenting. Doing pretty much, what was it? Let me look at my script real quick. Sorry, guys. Basically, testing out new web patterns and designs, and eventually coming across a spectacle. Now, Peter has had the Venom symbiote in a very contact, airtight, strong enough to keep freaking, well, if COVID was literally a physical item, it basically is airtight. So pretty much it's very, very, safe. So Venom can't get out. Venom is in this suit, is in, a can or canister in Spider-Man's lab in the subway. So Spidey pretty much has the suit and starts experimenting on it and trying to reason with Venom left and right. So Peter eventually gets to a certain understanding and basically gets to a point where pretty much Venom kind of trusts Peter again, but still wants Peter for his own body, or they want to take over Peter. But Peter has a backup plan. He implanted pretty much a sonic disruptor into his wrist, so if Venom ever tried to take over his body, all you had to do was tap his wrist and the Venom symbiote would come off of him out of pain. So yeah. So basically, Peter goes back to the whole entire, Avengers Tower, or the Avengers headquarters after getting an email from Cap about how Ant-Man was back. Now, Peter thought Ant-Man was snapped away, and Peter actually did make amends with Ant-Man, after Civil War. So yeah. So pretty much, he didn't really make amends. He just, talked to him and got a friendship towards him. So pretty much he goes down there, and pretty much he starts talking about how Hank Pym, Ant-Man starts explaining how we can use time travel through the particle, or like through the pin particles and all that other stuff. So pretty much explaining everything. Peter takes an advantage and says, so what are we gonna do? So pretty much they start off, making the same suits, getting everything preparated, and also trying to bring Tony into it. But Tony says no, and pretty much Peter walks over to Tony and pretty much explains to Tony that you need to do this. And pretty much the last second, Tony takes Peter's advice. And, well, now Peter is a lot more, a closer friend towards Tony. Not like a. Tony isn't a mentor to Peter, but they're like buddies or like best friends. So basically, sorry. So guys, basically they get started and get handed their suits. Now, Peter actually does get a nanotech suit, everybody else does, but he wears his black suit because he thinks this is the perfect time to test it out if they actually are going to go back in time and try to save everybody from being snapped away. So basically go back in time and they start their whole entire mission. Peter goes with Black Widow and Hawkeye to, Vatar, whatever that, I don't even know what that place is. I don't know what this place is called. So they get ready, and Peter gets into his black suit, Spider-Man suit. He gets ready and he gets started. So they start, their whole entire thing, and they get and they go back in time where the Soul Stone was right before Thanos went there. So they go there and pretty much, Black Widow and Hawkeye and Peter gets explained how the Soul Stone works and how you have to sacrifice a life to get the Soul Stone. So pretty much Peter sits there confused when just watching Black Widow and Hawkeye fight to the death to try to kill themselves or try to take the leap of faith. So they're taking it and pretty much they start throwing hands, and eventually they get to a tie when they're almost off the whole entire thing. Peter thinks about how he has nothing else to lose. Aunt May is going to come back, but she's not even gonna wonder about me. I already have Peter. Ben is dead. My best friend's dead. My girlfriend's dead. Pretty much, Peter is explaining to him that everybody he's ever loved has all died or went away. So Peter thinks he has nothing else to lose. So he runs past both of them and jumps off the cliff. At the last second, Peter's thinking about all of his life, and his life flashes before his eyes, thinking about all the good things that he's done and how this would be the goodest and the most sacrificial thing he's ever done. But at the last second, Venom flips him up on top of the cliff, back up again, and then when he's going back up, he sees that Black Widow falls down and hears a thump, and Black Widow dies. So Hawkeye and Spidey are pretty much out of breath and pretty much, gasping for air at this point, because Peter really thought he was going to die, but he just got stopped. So pretty much the stone is handed to them, and they go back to, back to the present time. Pretty much everybody asks, where's Black Widow? And pretty much Peter and Hawkeye say, she didn't come back. But, so basically after that, Peter, and everybody else do the whole entire funeral thing, pretty much saying that this is our last chance to bring everybody back. So, they get the Infinity Gauntlet ready, and gets the Infinity Stones ready and pumped up. So, they make the Iron Infinity Gauntlet, and they gave it to Hulk, and Hulk snaps his fingers. And it happens. Now, Peter's next to Ant-Man looking out of the place, pretty much saying that they both say, I think it worked. At the last second, the spaceship over the whole entire place goes off, and they start shooting, the missiles. The place busts down, and pretty much they, go underground, and they get exploded. So, all the rubble happens, and Peter finds himself in the same, tunnel where Hawkeye is. Peter wakes up, looking around, seeing a bunch of, those monster things behind him that were in Infinity War, and he looks in front of him, and he sees that, Hawkeye's running the other direction. Spider-Man starts running, and he runs a lot more faster because he still has the Venom symbiote on him. So he's jumping, looping, sorry guys, and running left and right. Eventually, he comes back, behind Hawkeye, and Hawkeye looks at him and says, we gotta get out of here. So pretty much they get to the last second, and Peter grabs the Infinity Gauntlet and jumps up there, grabbing Hawkeye, getting up there. So Nebula, says he'll take it from here, and Peter doesn't trust her, and also Venom senses that it's not her, it's somebody else, but it's still her. So Peter puts two the two together, and it's probably her past self. So Peter makes that, assumption, and pretty much kicks her right in the face, knocking her out clean. So pretty much Peter jumps up, getting the Infinity Gauntlet out of there, and getting knocked, clean out of his boots by, Thor bumping into him. Peter gets back up, and pretty much the big three fight becomes into a big four fight. Spidey, Cap, Spidey, Cap, Iron Man, and Thor, they all go to the last fight. So they get started, and basically they do the whole entire fighting scene. They run up and they charge straight at Thanos. They do the same fighting style, but it's whipping and webbing, and Spidey, jumping there and there, punching Thanos in the ribs and doing quick jabs. Eventually, Peter, takes a huge blow by Thanos, but he grabs Thanos' fist, and basically his anger consumes him, and Venom takes over. So pretty much, Peter is consumed in Venom, and Venom starts going punch after punch after punch, drawing lots of blood and actually making Thanos' nose bleed, throwing punches and bruises and scratching him and making swords stabbing him. Thanos gets punched and bruised and beaten, almost thinking that he's gonna die, but he grabs pretty much Venom. He uses the last of his strength to cut or stab Venom's chest with his, sword thing, and throws him into a pack of rubble, knocking out Peter and Venom. Venom starts repairing Peter and healing him, not letting him die. So Peter's out for the count. So pretty much Basically, Thor and Cap pretty much start fighting, and Tony does too. So Cap still wields Mjolnir, and pretty much Thor still says, "I knew it." So Peter on the floor wakes up at the last second when everybody is snapped back. Seeing everybody snapped back, Peter gets back on his feet, and seeing that, the symbiote is back into, Peter not out on his skin, consuming him with his suit. So, because Venom at this point is knocked out and, and hibernating in, Peter's body. So they get started, and they get ready. So they run and they charge, and they still give Avengers Assemble. So when instead of Cap, summoning Stormbreaker, it's actually Peter at the last second. Now Peter can wield Mjolnir because Peter was willing to sacrifice his life and pretty much give his life up at the last second, but he wasn't able to because of Venom. So they go, they start fighting left and right, going punches and jabs, and pretty much when Peter, is on the other side, still actually doing the same thing Tom Holland Spider-Man did, flipping around with the Infinity Gauntlet in his hand, trying to get around the whole entire place, passing everybody, and eventually running into, Captain Marvel, with, him still having a bloody face and beaten up, like in canon. So he gives, Captain Marvel the Infinity Gauntlet, and they do the whole entire, MCU, I don't know what it's called. It was all the MCU women, all standing up and about to fight. So they charge, and Peter's looking at them saying that, wow, that's a lot of strength. Pretty much Peter walks off and, grabbing his mask a couple feet away. So he puts his mask back on, and Venom comes back on and covers Peter's body again. Peter looks around, and pretty much at the last second when, Scarlet Witch does, almost kill Thanos, Thanos charges the Blitz, and basically, shoots everybody down. So basically, the time machine goes down, and pretty much at the last second, they go for the whole entire, Infinity Snap. So pretty much Peter, doing the whole entire Blitz, Peter did get hit with a little bit of the bomb, and gets blasted away. Peter at this point is like a couple of feet, 15 or 13 feet away from Iron Man when he's about to snap his fingers after, taking the Infinity Gauntlet from Thanos. Pretty much, he says, "I am Iron Man," and about to snap his fingers, but Peter, the last second, runs over there, grabs the Infinity Gauntlet off of Tony's hand, and snaps his fingers. The last second, he pretty much turns everybody back. He turns all the villains into ash, and brings everybody back, or, saves everybody. So, pretty much Peter faints, and he wakes up in the hospital. He gets told that Venom pretty much absorbed all of the cosmic energy, pretty much healing you at the same time, pretty much destroying himself. So Peter contemplated saying that Venom was actually a good guy. But little does he know, Venom actually did survive. A little sliver of him survived and pretty much detached itself off of Peter at the last second. So that's how Eddie Brock is made. Basically, that last little sliver of Venom slithers back to, civilian, pretty much, latches himself on a bunny, then a bird, then a dog, then a cat, and eventually gets to, well, Eddie Brock. So Eddie Brock is born, and the Venom movie takes place after Endgame, with a little bit of, talk throughs about, Spider-Man, and also the Venom symbiote having the iconic, black spider logo, and also, well, they having, the original classic Venom powers, and also Eddie Brock having his own movie. And near the end of the movie, when he says we can do whatever we want, we have an end credit about, Carnage and them still talking, but we also have another end credit with Peter, looking over the city saying that, man, what a great day to be Spider-Man. And then him hearing a huge explosion, meaning that the same explosion that happened at the place where, Riot got blown up at. So, that's where I'm going to end off this series. So, guys, hope you enjoyed this series. Hope you enjoyed what if Andrew Garfield Spider-Man was in the MCU, and I hope you guys like and subscribe. And have a blessed day.